Prepare to delve into the opulent and intricate world of the Byzantine Empire, a realm of emperors, intrigue, and enduring legacy. Fact 1. The Great Schism. Imagine a single church, united in faith and tradition, gradually drifting apart, divided by theological differences, cultural misunderstandings, and political rivalries. This was the story of the Great Schism, the event in 1054 AD that formally divided the Christian Church into the Eastern Orthodox Church and the Roman Catholic Church, a split that continues to this day. The roots of the Great Schism can be traced back centuries before 1054. The eastern and western branches of the church have been developing along different lines, influenced by their respective cultural, political, and geographical contexts. Over time, these differences led to growing tensions and misunderstandings. Some of the key factors that contributed to the Great Schism include theological differences. The Eastern and Western churches disagreed on several important theological issues, including the nature of the Holy Spirit, the use of unleavened bread in the Eucharist, and the authority of the Pope. The most significant theological dispute centered on the Filioque Clause, which was added to the Nicene Creed in the West. The Filioque Clause stated that the Holy Spirit proceeds from the Father and the Son, while the Eastern Church maintained that the Holy Spirit proceeds from the Father alone. Cultural differences. The Eastern and Western churches also differed in their cultural practices and traditions. The Eastern Church used Greek as its liturgical language, while the Western Church used Latin. The Eastern Church allowed married men to become priests, while the Western Church required priests to be celibate. These cultural differences further alienated the two branches of the church. Political rivalries. The political rivalry between the Byzantine Empire and the papacy also played a role in the Great Schism. The Byzantine emperors and the popes often clashed over issues of authority and jurisdiction. The popes claimed to be the supreme leaders of the entire Christian church, while the Byzantine emperors believed that they had the right to intervene in church affairs. The Iconoclast controversy. The Iconoclast controversy, which raged in the Byzantine Empire during the 8th and 9th centuries, also contributed to the growing rift between East and West. The iconoclasts opposed the use of religious images, while the iconodules defended the veneration of icons. The popes sided with the iconodules, further straining relations with the Byzantine emperors who initially supported iconoclasm. The events of 1054 marked the formal break between the Eastern and Western churches. In that year, Pope Leo IX sent a delegation to Constantinople, led by Cardinal Humbert, to address the ongoing theological disputes. However, the negotiations quickly broke down, and Cardinal Humbert excommunicated the Patriarch of Constantinople, Michael Cerularius. In response, Patriarch Michael excommunicated Cardinal Humbert and the other members of the papal delegation. These mutual excommunications formally severed the ties between the Eastern Orthodox Church and the Roman Catholic Church. Although there have been attempts at reconciliation over the centuries, the two churches remain separate to this day. The Great Schism had a profound impact on the history of Europe and the world. It divided the Christian world into two distinct cultural and religious spheres, shaping the political, social, and intellectual development of both East and West. The legacy of the Great Schism continues to be felt today, as the Eastern Orthodox Church and the Roman Catholic Church continue to navigate their complex and often challenging relationship. The division serves as a reminder of the power of theological differences, cultural misunderstandings, and political rivalries to divide even the most deeply shared beliefs. The search for reconciliation continues, a testament to the enduring desire for Christian unity in a fragmented world. Fact 2. The Justinianic Code. Imagine a legal system so comprehensive, so meticulously organized, and so influential that it would shape the laws of nations for centuries after its creation. This was the legacy of the Justinianic Code, a monumental achievement of legal scholarship commissioned by Emperor Justinian I in the 6th century AD. The code was not merely a collection of existing laws. It was a systematic and comprehensive codification of Roman law, designed to clarify, update, and streamline the legal system of the Byzantine Empire. Prior to Justinian, Roman law was a complex and often contradictory body of legal pronouncements, imperial decrees, and legal opinions accumulated over centuries. This complexity made it difficult for judges and lawyers to apply the law consistently and fairly. Justinian recognized the need for a more organized and accessible legal system, one that would promote justice, ensure stability, and strengthen the authority of the empire. To achieve this ambitious goal, Justinian assembled a team of legal scholars, led by the renowned Juris Tribonian. This team embarked on a massive project of compiling, editing, and systematizing the vast body of Roman law. The result was the Corpus Juris Civilis, or body of civil law, which consisted of 4 parts. The Codex Justinianus. This was a collection of imperial constitutions, laws issued by emperors, from the time of Hadrian, 2nd century AD, to Justinian's own reign. The constitutions were edited, updated, and arranged chronologically. The Codex aimed to eliminate contradictions and inconsistencies in imperial law. The Digest, or Pandex, this was a compilation of excerpts from the writings of the great Roman jurists, such as Ulpian, Papinian, and Paulus. The Digest was a vast and comprehensive collection of legal opinions and interpretations, covering a wide range of legal issues. It was designed to provide judges and lawyers with an authoritative guide to Roman legal principles. The Institutes. This was a textbook intended for law students, providing a concise overview of Roman law. The Institutes were based on the earlier Institutes of Gaius, a Roman jurist of the 2nd century AD. They served as an introduction to the fundamental principles of Roman law. The Novels, Novelli Constitutions. This was a collection of new constitutions issued by Justinian after the publication of the Codex. The novels addressed legal issues that had not been covered in the earlier parts of the Corpus Juris Civilis or reflected changes in Justinian's own legal thinking. The Justinianic Code had a profound impact on the Byzantine Empire. It provided a clear and consistent legal framework for the empire, promoting stability and ensuring the fair administration of justice. It also strengthened the authority of the emperor, who was seen as the ultimate source of law. However, the influence of the Justinianic Code extended far beyond the borders of the Byzantine Empire. In the centuries after the fall of the Western Roman Empire, the Justinianic Code was rediscovered in Western Europe and became the foundation of legal studies in universities. It played a crucial role in the development of modern civil law systems, which are based on codified legal principles rather than precedent-based common law. The principles of Roman law, as codified in the Justinianic Code, can still be seen in the legal systems of many countries around the world today. Concepts such as private property, contract law, and the rights of citizens can all be traced back to Roman law. The Justinianic Code is a testament to the enduring power of legal scholarship and the importance of having a clear and just legal system. It is a reminder that the laws we live by today are often rooted in the wisdom and insights of legal thinkers from centuries ago. The legacy of Justinian and his team of legal scholars continues to shape the world we live in, a testament to the enduring power of the Corpus Juris Civilis. The code provided a framework for social order, economic activity, and the protection of individual rights, shaping the lives of millions for centuries to come. Fact 3. The Varangian Guard. Imagine a band of fierce warriors, renowned for their loyalty, their battle prowess, and their unwavering dedication to their sworn oath. These were the Varangian Guard, an elite military unit composed primarily of Vikings and later Anglo-Saxons, who served as the personal bodyguards of the Byzantine emperors. Their story is a fascinating blend of cultural exchange, military might, and the allure of imperial service. The origins of the Varangian Guard can be traced back to the late 9th and early 10th centuries when Vikings, known as Varangians in Eastern Europe, began to venture south along the rivers of Russia and Ukraine, seeking trade and plunder. Some of these Varangians found their way to Constantinople, the glittering capital of the Byzantine Empire, where they were impressed by the wealth and power of the emperors. The Byzantines, always pragmatic in their approach to military matters, recognized the potential of these formidable warriors. They were recruited into the imperial army and eventually formed the core of a new elite unit, the Varangian Guard. The Varangian Guard was more than just a bodyguard unit. They were the emperor's most trusted and loyal soldiers, tasked with protecting him from assassination, suppressing rebellions, and leading the charge in battle. Their loyalty was legendary, and they were known for their unwavering devotion to the emperor, even in the face of overwhelming odds. The Vikings who joined the Varangian Guard were drawn to the promise of wealth, adventure, and prestige. They were paid handsomely, provided with comfortable accommodations, and given opportunities to rise through the ranks. Many Varangians returned to their homelands with fortunes accumulated in Byzantine service, further enhancing the Guard's reputation. The Varangian Guard played a crucial role in many of the Byzantine Empire's most important battles. They were known for their ferocity in combat, their unwavering discipline, and their distinctive appearance. They typically wore chainmail armor, carried large axes or swords, and were often adorned with tattoos and other Viking symbols. One of the most famous Varangian guards was Harald Hardrada, a Norwegian prince who served in the guard in the 11th century. Harald distinguished himself in numerous battles and amassed a considerable fortune before returning to Norway to claim the throne. He eventually died at the Battle of Stamford Bridge in 1066, marking the end of the Viking Age in England. Over time, the composition of the Varangian Guard shifted. As Viking influence waned, Anglo-Saxons, fleeing the Norman conquest of England, joined the ranks. These Anglo-Saxons, equally renowned for their fighting skills and loyalty, continued the tradition of the Varangian Guard as the emperor's most trusted protectors. The Varangian Guard's presence in Constantinople had a significant impact on Byzantine culture. They introduced new customs, traditions, and words into the Byzantine vocabulary. Their influence can be seen in Byzantine art, literature, and even in the imperial court. The Varangian Guard remained a vital part of the Byzantine military until the fall of Constantinople to the Ottoman Turks in 1453. Their story is a testament to the enduring power of cultural exchange and the enduring appeal of military service. They were a unique and fascinating group of warriors, a symbol of Byzantine power and a reminder of the empire's ability to adapt and incorporate diverse cultures into its service. The legacy of the Varangian Guard lives on, a testament to their loyalty, their bravery, and their enduring impact on Byzantine history. They were Vikings in the service of the emperor, and their story is one of the most compelling chapters in the history of the Byzantine Empire. Their axes and war cries echoed through the halls of Constantinople, a constant reminder of the fierce protectors who stood between the emperor and his enemies. Fact 4. The Akriti. Forget courtly intrigue for a moment. Picture instead rugged, isolated borderlands perpetually threatened by raiders. Imagine a class of warrior farmers, fiercely independent and constantly battling for survival, who became the stuff of legends. These were the Akriti, the Byzantine Empire's frontier guards, and their exploits inspired epic poems that shaped Byzantine identity. The Akriti, from the Greek akron, meaning edge or border, were not just soldiers. They were settlers, pioneers, and defenders of the empire's volatile eastern frontier with the Abbasid Caliphate and later, the Seljuk Turks. Unlike the professional soldiers stationed in fortified cities, the Akriti lived in small, fortified villages, often granted land in exchange for their military service. They were a mix of Byzantine Greeks, Armenians, Syrians, and other local populations, creating a unique blend of cultures and fighting styles. What makes the Akriti particularly fascinating is the body of oral and later written literature that grew up around them. The most famous example is the Diogenes Acritas epic. This cycle of poems tells the legendary story of a hero named Diogenes Acritas, a man born of mixed Greek and Arab parentage, hence Diogenes, meaning two races. Diogenes embodies the ideal Acritas warrior, immensely strong, skilled in combat, fiercely loyal to the empire, but also possessing a strong sense of justice and personal honor. The Diogenes Acritas epic is not just a simple adventure story. It offers a fascinating glimpse into the social, cultural, and political realities of the Byzantine frontier. The poems depict the constant threat of raids and ambushes, the challenges of life in a harsh and unforgiving environment, and the complex relationships between Byzantines and their Muslim neighbors. While the Akriti fought against the Muslims, there were also instances of cooperation, trade, and even intermarriage, reflecting the fluid and often ambiguous nature of frontier life. The Akriti in the Diogenes Acritas epic played a crucial role in shaping Byzantine identity. They provided a model of heroism and valor, inspiring generations of Byzantine soldiers and citizens. The stories of the Akriti celebrated the values of courage, loyalty, and self-reliance, which were essential for the survival of the empire. The Akrati were more than just frontier warriors. They were cultural heroes whose exploits were immortalized in epic poems that continue to captivate audiences today. They represent a fascinating aspect of Byzantine history, a glimpse into the lives of those who lived on the edge of the empire, defending its borders and shaping its identity. Their story is a blend of historical reality and romantic legend, a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit in the face of adversity. Fact 5. The Nika Riots. Imagine a city teetering on the brink of collapse, its streets ablaze, its emperor besieged in his palace, and the very foundations of the empire threatened. This was the reality of Constantinople in 532 AD during the Nika riots, one of the most dramatic and consequential events in Byzantine history. The Nika riots stem from a seemingly innocuous source: chariot racing. These races were immensely popular in Constantinople, with passionate fans organized into factions based on the colors of their favorite teams, the blues and the greens being the most prominent. These factions were more than just sports clubs. They represented different social and political groups within the city, often expressing grievances against the government through their support for their respective teams. Tensions have been simmering for some time due to Emperor Justinian I's heavy-handed rule and unpopular tax policies. When a series of violent incidents during chariot races resulted in the execution of several blues and greens, the simmering discontent boiled over. In an unprecedented act of unity, the blues and greens, normally bitter rivals, joined forces against Justinian. The cry of Nika, victory, traditionally shouted during chariot races, became the rallying cry of the rebels. Mobs surged through the streets of Constantinople, burning and looting government buildings, attacking officials, and declaring a new emperor. The riots quickly spiraled out of control, plunging the city into chaos and threatening Justinian's reign. The situation grew increasingly desperate for Justinian. He was trapped in his palace, surrounded by rebels, and his advisors urged him to flee the city. According to the historian Procopius, Justinian was on the verge of abandoning his throne when his wife, Empress Theodora, intervened. Theodora, a woman of humble origins but immense courage and determination, famously declared, "Royal purple is the noblest shroud." Her unwavering resolve shamed Justinian into staying and fighting for his empire. Justinian, emboldened by Theodora's courage, decided to take a stand. He entrusted the task of quelling the riots to his trusted generals, Belisarius and Mundus. These generals, with their loyal troops, launched a brutal counterattack against the rebels who were gathered in the Hippodrome, the city's main stadium. The ensuing massacre was horrific. Belisarius and Mundus's soldiers, with ruthless efficiency, slaughtered the unarmed rebels, trapping them in the Hippodrome and cutting them down with swords and spears. Thousands of people, perhaps as many as 30,000, were killed in the carnage. The Nika riots were effectively crushed, but at a terrible cost. The aftermath of the Nika riots was significant. Justinian, having narrowly escaped being overthrown, emerged stronger and more determined than ever. He rebuilt Constantinople, transforming it into a magnificent city adorned with new churches, public buildings and fortifications. The most famous of these structures was the Hagia Sophia, the grand cathedral that became the symbol of Byzantine power and religious devotion. The Nika riots also had a profound impact on Justinian's policies. He implemented reforms aimed at addressing some of the grievances that had fueled the riots, such as easing the tax burden on the poor and improving the administration of justice. He also sought to consolidate his power and prevent future rebellions by strengthening the imperial bureaucracy and suppressing dissent. The Nika riots serve as a stark reminder of the fragility of power and the importance of maintaining social order. They also highlight the crucial role that individuals, such as Empress Theodora, can play in shaping the course of history. The riots were a pivotal moment in Byzantine history, a trial by fire that tested the empire's resilience and ultimately strengthened its foundations. The charred ruins of Constantinople rose again, transformed into a symbol of imperial power and divine favor, a testament to the enduring legacy of Justinian and Theodora. The story of the Nika riots continues to fascinate and intrigue, a dramatic tale of rebellion, courage, and the enduring power of the human spirit. Fact 6. The fall of Constantinople. Imagine a city, once the vibrant heart of a mighty empire, besieged by overwhelming forces, its walls crumbling, its people desperate, and its fate hanging precariously in the balance. This was Constantinople in 1453, as it faced its final and ultimately fatal challenge: the Ottoman siege and the fall of the city, marking the end of the Byzantine Empire and a turning point in world history. For over 1,000 years, Constantinople had stood as a bulwark of Christendom, a center of culture and commerce, and the capital of the Byzantine Empire. But by the 15th century, the empire had shrunk to a shadow of its former self, its territory reduced to a small area around Constantinople and a few scattered possessions in Greece. The Ottoman Turks, under the leadership of Sultan Mehmed II, posed an existential threat to the Byzantine Empire. Mehmed II was a brilliant military strategist and a determined conqueror, and he had set his sights on capturing Constantinople, a city that controlled the strategic Bosporus Strait and served as a gateway between Europe and Asia. In the spring of 1453, Mehmed II launched a massive siege of Constantinople. He assembled a huge army, equipped with the latest siege weaponry, including massive cannons that could hurl stones weighing hundreds of pounds. The Byzantines, led by Emperor Constantine XI Palaiologos, put up a valiant defense. They strengthened the city walls, deployed their remaining troops, and appealed to the West for help. However, their pleas for assistance went largely unanswered. The siege lasted for 53 days. The Ottomans bombarded the city walls day and night, gradually weakening the defenses. They also attempted to tunnel under the walls, but the Byzantine defenders discovered and thwarted these efforts. On May 29, 1453, the Ottomans launched their final assault. After a fierce battle, they breached the city walls and poured into the city. Emperor Constantine XI died fighting bravely at the head of his troops, becoming a symbol of Byzantine resistance. The fall of Constantinople was a cataclysmic event. The city was subjected to widespread looting and destruction. Many of its inhabitants were killed or enslaved. The Hagia Sophia, The grand cathedral that had been the symbol of Byzantine Christianity was converted into a mosque. The fall of Constantinople had profound consequences for the world. The end of the Byzantine Empire. The fall of Constantinople marked the end of the Byzantine Empire, a civilization that had preserved and transmitted the classical traditions of Greece and Rome for over 1,000 years. The rise of the Ottoman Empire. The capture of Constantinople transformed the Ottoman Empire into a major power, controlling a vast territory that stretched from the Balkans to North Africa. The shift in trade routes. The Ottomans' control of Constantinople disrupted European trade routes to the east, prompting European explorers to seek new routes to Asia, leading to the Age of Discovery. The flight of Byzantine scholars to the West. Many Byzantine scholars fled to Western Europe after the fall of Constantinople, bringing with them their knowledge of Greek language and literature. This influx of Byzantine scholars contributed to the Renaissance in Europe. The fall of Constantinople is a tragic but also inspiring story. It is a reminder of the fragility of civilizations and the importance of defending freedom and culture. It is also a testament to the courage and resilience of the Byzantine people who fought bravely to defend their city and their way of life. The echoes of that final siege still resonate through history, a poignant reminder of the end of an era and the enduring legacy of the Byzantine Empire. The once proud capital was transformed, but the spirit of Byzantium, its art, its learning, and its influence lived on, shaping the course of history for centuries to come. Fact 7. Byzantine medicine. Imagine a world where medicine combined the wisdom of the ancient Greeks with innovative practices, creating a sophisticated system of healthcare within a thriving empire. This was the reality of Byzantine medicine, a field that not only preserved classical knowledge, but also made significant advancements, influencing medical practices for centuries to come. Byzantine medicine drew heavily from the medical traditions of ancient Greece, particularly the teachings of Hippocrates and Galen. Byzantine physicians studied and preserved the works of these classical authors, ensuring that their knowledge was not lost. They also translated these works into Greek, making them accessible to a wider audience. However, Byzantine medicine was not simply a continuation of ancient Greek medicine. Byzantine physicians also made their own contributions to the field, developing new diagnostic techniques, surgical procedures, and pharmaceutical remedies. Some of the key characteristics of Byzantine medicine include emphasis on observation and diagnosis. Byzantine physicians placed a strong emphasis on careful observation and accurate diagnosis. They meticulously recorded the symptoms of their patients, using these observations to identify the underlying cause of the illness. They also developed a range of diagnostic techniques, including pulse diagnosis, urine analysis, and physical examination. Use of herbal remedies. Byzantine physicians relied heavily on herbal remedies to treat a wide range of illnesses. They compiled extensive pharmacopoeias, listing the properties and uses of various medicinal plants. They also experimented with new combinations of herbs, seeking to create more effective remedies. Surgical skills. Byzantine surgeons were skilled in a variety of surgical procedures, including cataract removal, hernia repair, and amputation. They used a range of surgical instruments, some of which were remarkably similar to those used by modern surgeons. Hospitals and medical education. The Byzantine Empire established a network of hospitals, providing medical care to the poor and the sick. These hospitals were often staffed by trained physicians and nurses. The Byzantine Empire also had a number of medical schools where students could study medicine and train to become physicians. One of the most important figures in Byzantine medicine was Oribasius, a 4th century physician who served as the personal physician of Emperor Julian. Oribasius compiled a comprehensive medical encyclopedia known as the Medical Compilations, which summarized the knowledge of Hippocrates, Galen, and other classical authors. The Medical Compilations became a standard textbook for medical students for centuries. Another important figure in Byzantine medicine was Aetius of Amida, a 6th century physician who wrote a comprehensive treatise on medicine, known as the 16 Books on Medicine. Aetius' treatise covered a wide range of topics, including anatomy, physiology, pathology, and therapeutics. Byzantine medicine had a significant influence on the development of medicine in both the East and the West. Byzantine medical texts were translated into Arabic and Latin, spreading Byzantine medical knowledge throughout the world. Byzantine medical practices were also adopted by physicians in other cultures. Byzantine medicine represents a fascinating blend of ancient wisdom and innovation. It is a reminder that even in the Middle Ages, there were centers of learning and medical excellence where physicians were pushing the boundaries of medical knowledge. The legacy of Byzantine medicine lives on today in the medical practices and traditions that have been passed down through the centuries. Their dedication to preserving knowledge, combined with their own innovations, created a system of healthcare that was remarkably advanced for its time and paved the way for future medical discoveries. Fact 8. The Empress Irene. Imagine a woman powerful and ambitious who rose to the pinnacle of power in the Byzantine Empire, even daring to claim the title of emperor in her own right. This was Empress Irene of Athens, a controversial figure whose reign was marked by both political shrewdness and shocking acts, forever etching her name in Byzantine history. Irene was born in Athens and married Emperor Leo IV in 769 AD. Upon Leo's death in 780 AD, she became regent for her young son, Constantine VI. However, Irene's ambition knew no bounds, and she was determined to rule the empire herself. One of Irene's first major acts as regent was to restore the veneration of icons, which had been banned by her husband and his predecessors during the iconoclast controversy. Irene convened the Second Council of Nicaea in 787 AD, which formally condemned iconoclasm and reaffirmed the legitimacy of icon veneration. This act earned Irene the gratitude of the monastic community and the support of the papacy. As Constantine VI grew older, Irene became increasingly reluctant to relinquish power. She skillfully maneuvered to undermine his authority, appointing her own loyalists to key positions in the government and the military. Tensions between Irene and Constantine VI eventually erupted into open conflict. Constantine attempted to overthrow his mother, but Irene's supporters quickly suppressed the rebellion. In a shocking act of cruelty, Irene had her son blinded and imprisoned in 797 AD. Constantine died shortly thereafter, leaving Irene as the sole ruler of the Byzantine Empire. Irene's reign as sole ruler was unprecedented in Byzantine history. No woman had ever ruled the empire in her own right before. To legitimize her rule, Irene adopted the title of Basilius, Emperor, rather than Basilissa, Empress. Irene's rule was marked by both successes and failures. She was a skilled diplomat, maintaining peace with the neighboring Abbasid Caliphate. She also implemented a number of economic reforms, which helped to stabilize the empire's finances. However, Irene's rule was also controversial. Many Byzantines disapproved of the fact that a woman was ruling the empire. They believed that a woman was not fit to command the army or to lead the church. In 802 AD, a group of Byzantine officials conspired to overthrow Irene. They deposed her and replaced her with Nicephorus I, the empire's finance minister. Irene was exiled to the island of Lesbos, where she died in 803 AD. Despite her controversial reign, Irene remains a significant figure in Byzantine history. She was the first woman to rule the empire in her own right, and she played a key role in restoring the veneration of icons. Her ambition and ruthlessness made her a formidable ruler, but her actions also divided Byzantine society and ultimately led to her downfall. Irene's story is a complex and fascinating one, a testament to the power, ambition, and the precarious nature of power in the Byzantine world. Her legacy continues to be debated and reevaluated, a reminder of the challenges faced by women seeking power in a patriarchal society and the lengths to which they sometimes had to go to achieve their goals. Fact 9. Byzantine art. Imagine stepping into a world of shimmering gold, vibrant colors, and deeply spiritual imagery. This is the world of Byzantine art, a unique and influential artistic tradition that flourished for over 1,000 years, shaping the religious and cultural landscape of the Eastern Mediterranean and beyond. Byzantine art was more than just decoration. It was a powerful tool for conveying religious beliefs, expressing imperial authority, and connecting the earthly realm with the divine. Byzantine art is characterized by its distinctive style, which evolved from Roman and Hellenistic traditions, but gradually developed its own unique features. Key elements of Byzantine art include icons, perhaps the most iconic form of Byzantine art. Icons were painted images of Christ, the Virgin Mary, saints, and biblical scenes. They were not simply portraits. They were believed to be windows into the divine realm, imbued with spiritual power. Icons were venerated by believers who believed that they could communicate with the figures depicted in the images. The production of icons was governed by strict rules, ensuring that the images conformed to established theological doctrines. Mosaics. Mosaics were another important form of Byzantine art, used to decorate the walls and ceilings of churches and palaces. They were created by assembling small pieces of colored glass, stone, or ceramic tiles, tesserae, to form intricate images and patterns. Byzantine mosaics were renowned for their vibrant colors, their shimmering gold backgrounds, and their ability to create a sense of grandeur and awe. Architecture. Byzantine architecture was characterized by its innovative use of domes, arches, and pendentives, which allowed for the creation of vast, open spaces. Churches were often decorated with elaborate mosaics and frescoes, creating a sense of heaven on earth. The Hagia Sophia in Constantinople is the most famous example of Byzantine architecture, a masterpiece of engineering and artistic achievement. Illuminated manuscripts. Byzantine illuminated manuscripts were handwritten books adorned with intricate illustrations and decorative elements. These manuscripts were often produced in monasteries and were used for liturgical purposes or for the preservation of classical texts. The illustrations in Byzantine illuminated manuscripts are characterized by their vibrant colors, their detailed figures, and their symbolic imagery. Byzantine art served several important functions within the empire. It was used to promote religious beliefs. Byzantine art was a powerful tool for conveying Christian doctrines and inspiring religious devotion. The images of Christ, the Virgin Mary, and the saints served as visual aids for believers, helping them to understand and connect with their faith. Express imperial authority. Byzantine art was also used to glorify the emperor and to project an image of imperial power and authority. Portraits of the emperor were often placed in prominent locations, such as churches and public buildings, reminding the populace of his divine mandate to rule. Connect the earthly and divine realms. Byzantine art sought to bridge the gap between the earthly and divine realms, creating a sense of transcendence and spiritual connection. The shimmering gold backgrounds, the ethereal figures, and the symbolic imagery all contributed to this effect. The influence of Byzantine art extended far beyond the borders of the empire. It had a profound impact on the art of Western Europe, particularly during the Middle Ages. Byzantine artistic styles and techniques were adopted and adapted by artists in Italy, France, and other parts of Europe. Byzantine art also influenced the art of the Slavic world, particularly in Russia, where Byzantine missionaries introduced Christianity and Byzantine artistic traditions. Russian icon painting, for example, is heavily influenced by Byzantine art. Byzantine art is a testament to the enduring power of artistic expression. It is a reminder of the ability of art to convey religious beliefs, express cultural values, and connect people to something larger than themselves. The shimmering gold, the vibrant colors, and the deeply spiritual imagery of Byzantine art continue to inspire and captivate audiences today, a testament to its enduring legacy. Walking through the Hagia Sophia, surrounded by its magnificent mosaics, one can still feel the power and the glory of the Byzantine Empire, a realm where art and faith were inextricably intertwined. Fact 10. The Macedonian Renaissance. Imagine a period of cultural flowering, a resurgence of classical learning, and a renewed appreciation for the arts. This was the Macedonian Renaissance, a golden age in Byzantine history that occurred during the rule of the Macedonian dynasty, 867-1056 AD. This era witnessed a remarkable revival of intellectual and artistic activity, transforming the Byzantine Empire into a center of learning and culture that rivaled the great centers of the ancient world. The Macedonian dynasty, founded by Basil I, came to power after a period of internal strife and external threats. Basil and his successors were determined to restore the empire's strength and prestige, and they recognized the importance of culture and learning in achieving this goal. They actively promoted education, patronized the arts, and sought to revive the classical traditions of Greece and Rome. Several factors contributed to the Macedonian Renaissance. Imperial patronage. The Macedonian emperors were generous patrons of the arts and sciences. They founded new schools and libraries, supported scholars and artists, and commissioned the construction of magnificent churches and palaces. The revival of classical learning. Byzantine scholars rediscovered and studied the works of the ancient Greek philosophers, scientists, and historians. They translated these works into Greek, making them accessible to a wider audience. This revival of classical learning had a profound impact on Byzantine intellectual life, leading to new advances in philosophy, science, and literature. The development of Byzantine art. Byzantine art flourished during the Macedonian Renaissance. Artists created stunning mosaics, icons, and illuminated manuscripts, characterized by their vibrant colors, their intricate details, and their spiritual depth. The Macedonian Renaissance saw the development of new artistic styles and techniques as artists sought to blend classical traditions with Byzantine religious beliefs. The growth of education. The Macedonian emperors encouraged the growth of education throughout the empire. New schools were founded in Constantinople and other cities, providing opportunities for students to study a wide range of subjects, including philosophy, rhetoric, mathematics, and astronomy. Some of the notable achievements of the Macedonian Renaissance include the founding of the University of Constantinople. The University of Constantinople was re-established and became a leading center of learning in the Byzantine world. It attracted students from all over the empire and beyond, and its faculty included some of the most renowned scholars of the time. The development of Byzantine literature. Byzantine writers produced a wealth of new works of literature, including poetry, prose, and drama. These works often drew inspiration from classical Greek literature, but they also reflected the unique cultural and religious values of the Byzantine Empire. The creation of magnificent works of art. Byzantine artists created some of the most beautiful and enduring works of art in history during the Macedonian Renaissance. The mosaics of the Nea Moni Monastery on the island of Chios, for example, are considered to be among the finest examples of Byzantine mosaic art. The Macedonian Renaissance was a period of great intellectual and artistic achievement, a time when the Byzantine Empire shone brightly as a beacon of culture and learning. The legacy of the Macedonian Renaissance can still be seen today in the art, literature, and architecture of the Byzantine world, a testament to the enduring power of human creativity and the importance of preserving and celebrating our cultural heritage. The scholars, artists, and emperors of the Macedonian dynasty created a legacy that continues to inspire and influence, a reminder of the enduring power of learning and the beauty that can be created when a society values knowledge and artistic expression. Fact 11. The Fourth Crusade and the sack of Constantinople. Imagine a holy war intended to liberate sacred lands, turning into a brutal and avaricious assault on a Christian city, the heart of the Byzantine Empire. This was the tragic reality of the Fourth Crusade and the sack of Constantinople in 1204, an event that forever stained the history of the Crusades and dealt a devastating blow to the Byzantine Empire for which it never fully recovered. The Fourth Crusade was originally intended to conquer Jerusalem from the Muslims. However, due to a series of political machinations and financial difficulties, the crusade was diverted to Constantinople, the capital of the Byzantine Empire. Several factors contributed to the diversion of the Fourth Crusade to Constantinople. Venetian influence. The Republic of Venice played a key role in the Fourth Crusade. The Venetians provided ships and supplies for the Crusaders, but they also had their own agenda. They saw the Byzantine Empire as a commercial rival and sought to gain control of its lucrative trade routes. The Doge of Venice, Enrico Dandolo, skillfully manipulated the Crusaders to serve Venetian interests. Byzantine politics. The Byzantine Empire was in a state of political instability at the time of the Fourth Crusade. A succession dispute had weakened the imperial government, and rival claimants to the throne sought the support of the Crusaders. Financial difficulties. The Crusaders were heavily indebted to the Venetians for their ships and supplies. When they were unable to pay their debts, the Venetians demanded that they help them conquer the city of Zara, a rival port city on the Adriatic coast. This act, which involved attacking a Christian city, further alienated the Crusaders from their original goal. In 1203, the Crusaders, under the influence of the Venetians, intervened in the Byzantine succession dispute. They captured Constantinople and installed a new emperor, Alexios IV, who promised to pay them a large sum of money and provide military support for their crusade to the Holy Land. However, Alexios IV was unable to fulfill his promises, and he was soon overthrown in a palace coup. The Crusaders, feeling betrayed and deprived of their promised rewards, decided to seize Constantinople for themselves. In April 1204, the Crusaders launched a full-scale assault on Constantinople. After a fierce battle, they breached the city walls and stormed into the city. What followed was a 3-day orgy of looting, destruction, and violence. The Crusaders ransacked the city, stealing countless treasures, destroying priceless works of art, and desecrating holy places. They looted churches, monasteries, and palaces, carrying off gold, silver, jewels, and relics. They also murdered, raped, and pillaged the civilian population. The sack of Constantinople was a horrific event that shocked the Christian world. It marked a turning point in the history of the Crusades, demonstrating the extent to which greed and political ambition could corrupt even the noblest of intentions. The sack of Constantinople also had a devastating impact on the Byzantine Empire. It weakened the empire politically, economically, and militarily, making it vulnerable to future attacks. The empire was divided into several smaller states, and Constantinople was ruled by a Latin emperor for over 50 years. Although the Byzantines eventually regained control of Constantinople in 1261, the empire never fully recovered from the sack of 1204. The Fourth Crusade and the sack of Constantinople stand as a stark reminder of the destructive consequences of religious fanaticism, political intrigue, and unbridled greed. The betrayal of Christendom at Constantinople shattered the already fragile relationship between East and West and hastened the decline of the Byzantine Empire. The echoes of that sack reverberate through history, a cautionary tale of the dark side of the Crusades and the enduring scars of religious conflict. Fact 12. The theme system. Imagine an empire facing constant threats from all sides, its borders stretched thin, and its military resources dwindling. This was the situation faced by the Byzantine Empire in the 7th century AD, following a series of devastating wars and invasions. To survive, the Byzantines needed to fundamentally reorganize their military and administrative structures. The solution was the theme system, a revolutionary approach to governance that transformed the empire and allowed it to endure for centuries. The traditional Roman system of administration, based on large, centralized provinces, proved inadequate to meet the challenges of the 7th century. The constant warfare had disrupted trade, decimated the population, and weakened the central government. The empire needed a more decentralized and resilient system, one that could mobilize local resources and defend against invaders. The theme system, which began to emerge in the mid-7th century, divided the Byzantine Empire into smaller administrative units called themes. Each theme was essentially a military district governed by a strategos, general, who had both military and civil authority. The strategos was responsible for recruiting, equipping, and commanding the soldiers within his theme, as well as for collecting taxes and administering justice. The key innovation of the theme system was that it linked military service to land ownership. Soldiers were granted land within their theme in exchange for their military service. This system, known as pronoia, created a class of soldier farmers who had a vested interest in defending their land and the empire. These soldier farmers were not full-time soldiers. They were expected to cultivate their land and support their families in peacetime, but they were also required to be ready to mobilize at a moment's notice. The theme system had several significant advantages. Decentralization. It decentralized power and authority, allowing local commanders to respond quickly to threats without waiting for instructions from the central government. Military efficiency. It created a more efficient and responsive military, as soldiers were locally recruited, trained, and equipped. Economic stability. It promoted economic stability by linking military service to land ownership, encouraging agricultural production, and ensuring a stable source of revenue for the government. Defense in depth. It created a defense in depth, making it more difficult for invaders to penetrate the empire's borders. Even if an enemy army managed to break through the frontier defenses, they would face resistance from the local theme forces, who would harass them and slow their advance. The theme system was not without its drawbacks. It could lead to localism and fragmentation, as powerful strategoi could challenge the authority of the emperor. It also created a social hierarchy, with the soldier farmers at the top and the landless peasants at the bottom. Despite its drawbacks, the theme system was a remarkably successful innovation. It allowed the Byzantine Empire to survive a period of intense crisis and to rebuild its military and economic strength. The theme system remained the foundation of Byzantine administration for centuries, adapting and evolving to meet the changing challenges of the times. The theme system is a testament to the Byzantine Empire's ability to adapt and innovate in the face of adversity. It is a reminder that even the most powerful empires can be vulnerable, and that survival often depends on the ability to rethink and reorganize fundamental structures. The strategoi and the soldier farmers of the themes played a crucial role in defending the empire, preserving its culture, and ensuring its survival for centuries to come. The system was a bold experiment in decentralized governance, a pragmatic response to the challenges of a turbulent era, and a key factor in the Byzantine Empire's remarkable longevity. Fact 13. The Byzantine eunuchs. Forget simplistic notions of weakness or marginalization. Envision instead a group of individuals, often castrated at a young age, who wielded immense power and influence within the Byzantine court, navigating its intricate web of politics and intrigue. These were the Byzantine eunuchs, and their story is far more complex and fascinating than popular stereotypes suggest. Eunuchs were a prominent feature of the Byzantine court from its earliest days. While the practice of castration was officially condemned by the Christian Church, it persisted for a variety of reasons, including court security. Eunuchs were often employed as palace guards and chamberlains, as they were considered less likely to pose a sexual threat to the imperial family. Political loyalty, because they could not have legitimate heirs. Eunuchs were often seen as being more loyal to the emperor than other officials who might be tempted to plot for their own family's advancement. Administrative talent. Many eunuchs were highly educated and capable administrators, and they rose to positions of great power and influence within the imperial bureaucracy. Contrary to popular stereotypes, eunuchs were not always marginalized or powerless figures. In fact, many Byzantine eunuchs held some of the most important positions in the empire, including parakomenos. The parakomenos was the emperor's personal chamberlain and confidant, often wielding immense power behind the throne. They had direct access to the emperor and could influence his decisions on a wide range of matters. Grand Chamberlain. The Grand Chamberlain was responsible for overseeing the imperial household and managing the emperor's personal finances. Generals and diplomats. Some eunuchs even served as generals and diplomats, leading armies and negotiating treaties with foreign powers. Narsas, a 6th century eunuch general, was one of Justinian I's most successful commanders, playing a key role in the reconquest of Italy. The rise of eunuchs to positions of power was not without controversy. Some Byzantines resented their influence, viewing them as social upstarts and questioning their loyalty. However, emperors often found that eunuchs were more reliable and trustworthy than other officials. The story of the Byzantine eunuchs challenges our assumptions about power, gender, and social mobility. It reveals a complex and often contradictory aspect of Byzantine society, where individuals who were often seen as being on the margins could rise to positions of great influence. Their story is a reminder that power can take many forms, and that even those who are seemingly excluded from traditional hierarchies can find ways to navigate the system and achieve their goals. The cultural complexity of the Byzantine Empire allowed for these figures to rise in prominence and carve out a unique place in its history. Fact 14. The Byzantine silk industry. Imagine a fabric so luxurious, so sought after, and so closely tied to imperial power that its production was a state secret. This was the story of Byzantine silk, a commodity that not only adorned the elite, but also fueled the Byzantine economy and served as a symbol of imperial authority. The Byzantine Empire inherited the knowledge of silk production from the East, but the Byzantines transformed silk into a major industry, controlling the production and trade of silk within their territories. For centuries, the secrets of silk production were closely guarded, giving the Byzantines a monopoly on this valuable commodity. The origins of silk production in the Byzantine Empire are shrouded in legend. According to tradition, in the 6th century AD, Emperor Justinian sent 2 monks to China to learn the secrets of silk production. The monks managed to smuggle silkworm eggs and mulberry seeds, the silkworm's food source, back to Constantinople, establishing the foundations of the Byzantine silk industry. The production of silk was a complex and labor-intensive process. It involved raising silkworms, harvesting their cocoons, unwinding the silk filaments, spinning the filaments into thread, dyeing the thread, and weaving the thread into fabric. The Byzantine government tightly controlled the production of silk. Silk workshops were located in or near the imperial palace, and the workers were often imperial slaves or state employees. The government regulated the quality of silk, set prices, and oversaw the distribution of the finished product. Byzantine silk was renowned for its quality, its beauty, and its intricate designs. Byzantine silk fabrics were often decorated with elaborate patterns, including images of emperors, religious figures, and mythological scenes. Byzantine silk was a major export commodity, traded throughout Europe, the Middle East, and Asia. It was highly sought after by royalty, nobles, and wealthy merchants. Byzantine silk fabrics were used to make clothing, tapestries, curtains, and other luxury goods. The Byzantine silk industry was not only a source of economic wealth, but also a symbol of imperial power. The emperor controlled the production and distribution of silk, and he often used silk fabrics as diplomatic gifts to foreign rulers. Byzantine silk garments were also worn by members of the imperial court, reinforcing the emperor's authority. The Byzantine monopoly on silk production lasted for centuries. However, in the 12th century, the secrets of silk production began to spread to other parts of the world. Italian city-states, such as Venice and Genoa, learned the techniques of silk production and began to challenge the Byzantine monopoly. Despite the growing competition, the Byzantine silk industry remained an important part of the empire's economy until the fall of Constantinople in 1453. The legacy of Byzantine silk lives on today in the beautiful and luxurious silk fabrics that are still produced around the world. The intricate patterns, the vibrant colors, and the sheer opulence of Byzantine silk serve as a reminder of the wealth, power, and artistic skill of the Byzantine Empire. The silkworms smuggled out of China created an industry that defined an empire and left a lasting mark on the world of textiles and trade. Fact 15. The Byzantine Empire's secret weapon. Imagine a weapon so terrifying, so devastating, that it could turn naval battles into infernos and instill unimaginable fear in the hearts of enemies. That was the power of Greek fire, one of the Byzantine Empire's most closely guarded secrets and a key factor in its survival for centuries. The exact composition of Greek fire remains a mystery to this day, a testament to the Byzantines' commitment to protecting their technological advantage. What we do know is that it was a highly flammable liquid compound, launched from siphons mounted on Byzantine ships, capable of igniting on contact with water. This seemingly paradoxical property made it particularly effective against enemy vessels, turning the sea into a fiery trap. The impact of Greek fire on naval warfare was profound. Imagine the scene. Enemy ships approaching, confident in their numbers, suddenly confronted by jets of fire erupting from the Byzantine fleet. The flames would spread rapidly across the water, engulfing ships in intense heat and thick smoke. Panic would ensue as sailors desperately tried to extinguish the inferno, often with little success. The psychological impact of such a weapon was immense, demoralizing enemy forces and giving the Byzantines a significant edge in naval engagements. The use of Greek fire was not limited to naval battles. It could also be deployed from siege towers or thrown in pots, wreaking havoc on enemy fortifications and troop formations. The Byzantine chroniclers describe scenes of utter devastation, with entire armies fleeing in terror from the unstoppable flames. The secrecy surrounding Greek fire was paramount. The Byzantines understood that the weapon's effectiveness depended on their ability to keep its composition a secret. Knowledge of its production and deployment was tightly controlled, with only a select few individuals entrusted with the formula. It is believed that the formula was a closely guarded state secret, passed down through generations of a single family. The penalty for revealing the secret was likely death, ensuring that the knowledge remained within the inner circle of the Byzantine elite. The importance of Greek fire to the Byzantine Empire cannot be overstated. It played a crucial role in defending Constantinople from numerous sieges, deterring potential invaders, and maintaining Byzantine naval supremacy in the eastern Mediterranean. Without Greek fire, the empire might have succumbed to its enemies much earlier in its history. The legacy of Greek fire extends beyond its military applications. It represents a remarkable feat of Byzantine engineering and ingenuity, a testament to their ability to develop and deploy advanced technologies. It also serves as a reminder of the importance of technological innovation in warfare and the lengths to which nations will go to protect their strategic advantages. The mystery surrounding its composition continues to fascinate historians and scientists alike, making Greek fire one of the most intriguing and enduring enigmas of the Byzantine Empire. We can only speculate about the exact ingredients and methods used to create this devastating weapon, but its impact on history is undeniable. It was a game changer, a symbol of Byzantine power, and a chilling reminder of the destructive potential of human innovation. The legend of Greek fire lives on, a testament to the ingenuity and ruthlessness of the Byzantine Empire.